Hey guys, what's up? Today it's Fire Emblem's turn. I'll be ranking the entire series of Fire Emblem, all releases, all of the main titles of course, not spin-offs or mobile games, all of them including the ones that never came out of Japan and are fan translated. The S means the game is a masterpiece, A means the game is excellent, B means the game is great, C means the game is okay, and D means the game is mediocre. And with that clarified, let's begin! We're gonna start here with Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon on the Nintendo DS. This is a complete remake of the very first Fire Emblem that was originally released only in Japan on the Famicom, and that original version is also fully translated, but it's very rough to play, so this is the version I'll be ranking instead. And this is a pretty good game. I beat this game twice, and both times it didn't click that much with me as much as some of the others, but it's still a great game, and well, difficulty is just right. It's tough to beat. I think Marth, the main character, it's kind of a generic protagonist, and the story does focus a lot on him and a couple of other characters, some of them which are not really playable. So yeah, in any case, Shadow Dragon is a great game. I loved it, but to me, it is a B tier. Oh yeah. Next up is the sequel. The sequel, I think it was released on the Super Famicom, only in Japan, and then it was remade in the same style as Shadow Dragon, also on the Nintendo DS, but this sequel and the remake, both versions remained in Japan for some stupid ass reason. I'll never understand why we only got the first game and not the second. That's just ridiculous. And you know what? In my opinion, it's a much better game because there's more focus on most of the characters. This time there's Marth. This is a direct sequel of the first one. If you haven't played the first one, Shadow Dragon, you won't be able to understand almost anything in this game because it's a direct sequel. It's also a new plot, new problems, a new conflict, and you've got a new playable, customizable character, which is your protagonist. I don't know, man, it plays very similar, but it just clicked a little bit more with me, especially because of the character progression. So this game is no masterpiece, but to me it's an excellent game, better than Shadow Dragon. Next up on the list is Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia Echoes, another full, complete from scratch remake of a game called Fire Emblem Gaiden on the Famicom that remained in Japan. But this one, it was released worldwide, and it's a very good remake in my opinion. I love how they included these small dungeon crawling areas where you can just go and find items and level up and do small skirmishes. I really like that, and I also love the two main characters' perspectives, something that remained with several other future Fire Emblem games. So, god damn it, I'll just put it on the A tier. I like this game a lot, really, you can tell that. Next on the list is a game that never came out of Japan, and it's fully fan translated, thankfully. It came on the Super Famicom. It's called Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War. This game is known for having the longest maps in any strategy RPG in existence, I think, and in the entire series, that's for sure. These are maps that, you can do like one or two chapters and they both take place on the same map, and it's a very long map. It takes you like 2 or 2.5 hours to beat each map, including the very first one, and it's a tough as nails game, like one of the hardest in the series. Very hard. It's not exactly unbalanced, but it can piss the shit out of you if you are not careful, and you can't be too careful in this game. It's a very long game. It involves 2 story arcs, like the main characters, and then that's the first 4 chapters, and then the other 4 chapters are played with their sons, with their offsprings, the next generation. I found that to be pretty interesting. And gameplay-wise, it's a very good game, but honestly, it just has a lot of pacing problems. The maps being really long, it can be fun and original sometimes, but it also can be a pain in the ass sometimes. Genealogy has a great story, no doubt about it, but gameplay-wise, it's just not as great as the others. I'm gonna rank this game on the B tier, because it's still a great game in my opinion. Next! Fire Emblem, the infamous Fire Emblem Tracia 776. You know how I feel about this game. I have a love-hate relationship with this game. No other video game in existence has even come close to rage quit material in my life. Like, this game drove me mad, like 10 times more than Octopath Traveler. This game, I hate this game, but I also love it because it's so unique, so goddamn good and addictive, because every single map is different. You know how in most Fire Emblem games, it's usually the goal of the game, the goal of each map, it's like defeat all enemies, or kill all enemies, or survive for several turns. This game, in almost every single mission, there's a different objective, and I love that about it. The main problem this game has, and the one that completely destroys people's experiences, is the RNG, the random number generator. Like how it heavily relies on luck and percentages that are so messed up here, and how that only adds a hell of a lot more to its godforsaken, unforgivable difficulty. B tier for me. Love-hate relationship. Really, this game, these two games, Genealogy and this game, oh my god, please, Nintendo, remake these games. They really need a full modern remake. Next up is another only in Japan game on the Game Boy Advance, and it takes place after the events of Fire Emblem 7, also known as Fire Emblem the Blazing Sword, the first Fire Emblem we ever got in history. The Binding Blade, that's the name of this game, and oh boy, the story, for starters, I don't know what the hell happened here that it's so generic. In my opinion, The Binding Blade has one of the weakest stories and cast of characters in all the series. Some of the missions are full of major problems. There's a couple of missions that are just almost downright impossible. I don't know how I managed to beat this game, to be honest. I don't think I'll ever play this game again. Once was more than enough for me. This game is good, but Jesus, I think it's a C tier for me because it's just so annoying. Like, Genealogy and Tracia are hard as nails, but they're not as heavily unbalanced as this one here, as the Binding Blade. And story-wise, I just felt it was kind of weak. The sequel, prequel, whatever, the first Fire Emblem we ever got, that game is a masterpiece. S tier for me. You guys know I'm a huge fan of this game. There's no reason for me to cover this game anymore because I praise this game to hell millions of times in this channel. I love it. The three main characters, the three routes, the three perspectives. This game is Fire Emblem to perfection. Next up is the Sacred Stones, also known as Fire Emblem 8. This one is a great game. It's a great entry for beginners. It's still a very hard game, and just like the Binding Blade, it has a couple of maps that are not downright impossible, but they're just very hard. That mission in the desert, man, wow, that's a long mission, and that's a very hard mission. So it's only with a couple of missions. Most of the game is friendly, and there's also the famous Tower of Valny where you can go and level up, just grind. Sacred Stones, damn it, it's another masterpiece for me. Next up is my favorite Fire Emblem of all time, and one of my absolute favorite video games of all time. This game is in my top 5 favorite RPGs ever. Fire Emblem, the Path of Radiance on the GameCube. This is the first Fire Emblem I ever played, and I enjoyed it to pieces. I think everything is great in this game. Excellent, top-notch. The story, the characters, the development of the characters, the dialogues, the conversations. The gameplay itself, it was a very freaking awesome evolution of the Game Boy Advance games. Like, if you compare these games, you can really tell the big difference. I love this game to pieces, man. I think this is the perfect Fire Emblem and the best of all time. S tier for me. Next is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on the Wii. That's the sequel, the direct sequel to Path of Radiance. And it's a great game. It's a freaking masterpiece too. It just has a little bit of a bad reputation because there was an error in localization. See, we only got 2 modes here, the easy mode and the normal mode. But apparently they messed up, and easy mode turned out to be the normal mode, and normal mode turned out to be the hard mode. So a lot of people played this game on normal mode, and it was a brutal nightmare. It is a very hard game. I played it on easy mode because it's the real normal mode, and yes, it's a hard game still, but I had no major problems, and I loved this game to pieces. Another masterpiece. S tier for me. Next on the list, Fire Emblem Awakening. it's still a great game. I finished this game twice, and I enjoy the heck out of this game. It's just the story and characters are very weak. Some of the characters are really freaking cool, but like it's like half of the cast is really cool, and the other half is like really mediocre and stereotype and overly cliches. This was when the true waifu bullshit began in the Fire Emblem series, and oh man, it's just a story-wise, just this traveling through time and recruiting your children. That's not Fire Emblem, man. That was some major crap. Gameplay-wise, it's still an amazing game, so I'm gonna put this on the B tier. Yeah, it's still a great game. Oh, next up is the black sheep of the family. That's right, Fire Emblem Fates. I play these two versions. Birthright is easy as hell, and Conquest is hard as hell, no matter the difficulty you play in. And well, you know how I feel about these games. Gameplay-wise, they're still great, playable, but enjoyable, but the story is like utter trash. Most of the characters, this game is just fan service, and it just didn't live up to my expectations story-wise. I still think it gets more hatred than what it probably deserves, but honestly, these are C-tier games for me. Honestly, they're still good, playable, enjoyable, but nope. Compared to all the others, nope. Last but not least, Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is the latest release, and goddammit, this game is... I loved it to pieces. I really enjoy this game. I think it's an excellent game. It's just, it doesn't feel like a true Fire Emblem anymore. The skill simulation was really darn good. It's just not a true Fire Emblem, but as a strategy RPG, it's excellent. So this goes straight to the A tier. And that's that. No D tier games for me, maybe because I'm such a big Fire Emblem fanboy. So even the bad ones, like Fates, I think they're still good. There isn't a single bad Fire Emblem game in my opinion, so this is my ranking. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!